just hot. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to all of you. We're glad to have you here with us today. Kim, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Austin.
Present.
Ms. Quetch. Here. Mr. Webb.
Here.
Vice Mayor Anderson.
Here.
And Mayor Pillion.
Here. Now, Councilmember Donna Quetch is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we need to approve our agenda. We have our draft agenda in front of us today. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll put the agenda in motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? There is no discussion. Kim, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Austin.
Aye.
Mrs. Quetch. Aye. Mr. Webb.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Anderson.
Aye.
And Mayor Pillion.
Aye. So the next item on our agenda are public comments, and we do have one person signed up for public comments. We have Katie Brown who would like to speak to us.
Afternoon to the Town Council and the staff. I'm Katie Brown, 254 Valley Street, and Producing Artistic Director at Barter Theater, and that's why I'm here to give you a Barter Theater update. So we will be finishing our spring repertory this weekend. Keep on the Sunny Side will finish its run, and it's going to mark a big step forward for Barter Theater's recovery post-pandemic. The 2023 spring season brought over 15,000 people to Abingdon to see shows at Barter, and that's a 50% increase over last spring. And most importantly for tourism dollars, 6,000 of them were from outside the region, from over 100 miles away. That's 200% increase from last spring in terms of people from outside of the region. And we've been doing a lot of marketing outside of the region, and also some pandemic recovery as a piece of that as well. The summer season is about to open. We will start Skeleton Crew this weekend. It's an all-black cast from one of the best modern American plays of the century. We've got Footloose going on in our rehearsal halls right now, and the dancers and singers that have been amassed from all over the country are absolutely stellar. I'm incredibly excited. We've got Sense and Sensibility, Country Girls, which is a brand new Appalachian comedy, Robin Hood, Rapunzel for student shows. It's really one of the most exciting summers in memory. We are thrilled to have everybody in for the summertime. And right now, our forecasting is right on track for where we want to be, to have a 15% increase over last summer for attendance. So things are moving exactly the direction that we want them to be. In PR news, Barter's engagement with a national PR firm has really been a game changer for us, and I know you've seen some things from Tanya as well coming through that have come through that PR firm. So recently, Abingdon and Barter together have been in American Theater Magazine, Southern Living, Garden and Gun. There was an excellent piece on PBS NewsHour, and we have gotten some web traffic from all over the country from places we have never seen before that we're tracking back to people having seen that. And we have some more interest for some more national attention coming up soon, which we hope to be reporting on soon. As you all know, Barter's 90th is coming up, and we can't thank you all enough for the commendation. We would not be here 90 years on if it weren't for the town of Abingdon and the partnership over these last 9 decades. So we want to say thank you so very much. We are excited about our upcoming birthday celebration. There will be parties for kids on the green. There'll be performances for bartered entry, stories, recording. Look for all of those things. We'd love to see you all there to help celebrate the birthday. And thank you for helping to get us here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to let you actually read the proclamation. We have a proclamation today recognizing May as Foster Care Awareness and Foster Friendly Business Month.
Whereas the Council of Town of Abingdon recognizes that May is National Foster Care Awareness Month and seeks the honor and the dedication of our foster families, organization, faith leaders, and business support of our children in case, as well as social service workers that support them in. Whereas we recognize the contributions of Abingdon small business in supporting the foster-friendly business incentives, individual programs to help those foster families that have opened their hearts and homes to serving children in Virginia's foster care system. And whereas we will recognize that the critical partnership brings the strength of the private business partners together with the stability of our local government to help solve one of our community's most significant challenges to help us meet the aims to recruit, retain, support our foster families and their foster children as they serve. And whereas in the recognition of Foster Care Awareness Month and the dedication of our small business partners, faith leaders, and other community partners to improve the conditions of the most vulnerable children and deliver a world-class foster-friendly business incentive that brings the best example of public-private partnership to support bold, transformational community actions. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Amanda Pillion, Proclamation, and establish the month of May to be Foster Friendly Business Month, and thank those working on behalf of the residents to help make our town an even more vibrant, thriving, compassionate place to call home.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. So, we have no public hearings, no resolutions, no first or second reading of ordinances, no consideration of bids, no new business, and no old business, but we do have some significant miscellaneous business and communications from the town manager to discuss. So first, well, I'll let Mr. Cochran take over.
Sure. We have Martin Lucas in the back. So as you know, I mentioned a couple months ago, we had, we've been trying to develop our staff, and if we pick internal staff and they want to be able to go to CDL class, because some of the, Martin Lucas, he's on it, he's a retread, so he was here and he left and he came back. And so when he came back, the idea is that we can develop him, and he's here. So we went up, he went to the CDL class and he passed that. He'll be operating probably the most important truck other than the garbage truck, getting the brush truck off the, because no one wants to see piles of brush on the side of the road. So that's gonna be one of his primary tasks. So he went to the CDL class, we sponsored him on that, and he's here today. So we're just glad to have him and glad he came back to the town. Thanks.
Marty, congratulations to you, Marty. All right. Nice.
There they are. That make us look good.
And I'm not gonna have to stand on all these tall people.
It's easy for me to
And
hide
me.
behind these.
Come on in your way.
Oh, we got it right?
Mr. Austin, I can't see you.
Oh, wow.
How's that?
Thank you.
Congratulations, my friend. Good to see you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thanks.
Good job.
Good to see you again. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, and now we have the discussion of the proposed policy regarding banner poles.
Correct, yeah, well, thank you. There's a slight update from my last report on this one. After looking at the location and discussing the location with the property owner, I went back with staff because there were some concerns just about logistics and some other stuff with that exact location. So I met with staff out on site, and honestly, if you look at the photos represent our property line. The first one is a right-of-way designation, so the red X's would be where they would go. The old location are the black zeros up top, and then the color picture behind represents the same thing, but in a just color, so you can actually see it. But basically, instead of having the pole up on the hill, we would have to go up the hill to change the thing. We would have it right just on the property line, but it would we already own the land on either side of the road, which makes it perfect. We have right away or own it. So it's just a matter of putting the poles up. and staff's been working on that. They've got the pole design being, it's the old approval, but in case the engineering standards changed or whatever, they're coming back with just to green light the actual pole design, and then we'll be able to install them. The nice part about this one, besides the fact that we own the land on either side of the road, is that when we go to change the banners, you can use the driveway. It's flat, it's easy to access, it'll be quick. And then from an optics perspective, it'll be almost exact, like if you're coming up the highway or coming up the, I say highway, but coming up Cummings, it's gonna be almost the same visual, it's within a couple feet of where it was at, so it'll work out real well. But it's just nice having the, just, you think about being on the hillside trying to change something or being right on a flat driveway, so it'll just be easier for staff, and that was a staff concern. And so with that, and then with the policy, I took Cam's input and then revised the policy to meet his, his feedback, and so it's been modified to that regard also. And if you have any questions on that, but basically what it's designed to do is to allow us to support events that are going to be in the town. And then the key part is that it's not a public forum. Someone can't rent it for a personal thing. It's only for town-sponsored events. And if we had an applicant that, like there was an event in town that someone on council wanted to sponsor, then we could put that forward, and then we could sponsor the event. And then instead of getting into fees for loading it and whatnot, we would just, as part of our sponsorship, we would just make that a part of our sponsorship is putting the sign up. And then we have the one interesting thing I did find talking with staff on this is, and I think I sent you all a link about whether you need the wind socks or the wind designs on them. And this is the interesting thing between engineering and the actual reality. So in an engineering world, you don't need it. In reality, if you don't have those holes in there or the wind areas, it will shake. So anyway, so I did revise the language to call for the wind holes in there, because what they were saying is it would buffet or shake up and down. We don't want that. That would be kind of distracting. So we did modify it to that extent also. But so if someone was going to have an event, they would have to buy the sign based on our specs, and then we would put it up for them and take it down for them. So.
Okay. So is this something that we vote on today, or do we vote on it at our next meeting, or how should we proceed with this situation?
It's not under new business. So.
It's up to council. Hyper-technically, I think the town manager could just do this on his own if he wanted to. I think
Okay.
So do we just
correctly
need a
brought it to
consensus
council,
then?
but however y'all want to do it.
I've heard very much positive feedback from people in the community about this. So, ultimately, I think that is our job, is to serve our community, and people seem to really want it. So I think if we have appropriate guidelines, sorry.
Yeah, let's, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I
No, no.
apologize, but let's do it by motion and take a vote on it. Can we do that?
I'm fine with that,
Yeah.
if that's appropriate.
I'd like to make the motion
Sure.
that we proceed with reinstalling the banner poles in the areas described by the town manager, and that as part of that, we adopt the policy that's been presented to us called banner display requirements, that has been worked on by the town manager and by the town attorney, and authorize the town manager to proceed with whatever is necessary in order to accomplish that task.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any discussion? So we have a motion by Mr. Austin, a second by Vice Mayor Anderson. Kim, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Austin?
Aye.
Ms. Quetch? Aye. Mr. Webb?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Anderson?
Aye.
Mayor Pilton?
Aye. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the discussion regarding our July to December 2023 council meetings. So if everybody has their calendar out. And I think we already have July's scheduled.
July 10th.
July 10th. Is that still appropriate for everyone?
I know that I am going to be going on in July.
Okay.
I don't know the date, but it's just for 7 days.
Okay.
As soon as I know those dates, I can let Kim know, I can let someone know about those dates. But I know it's going to be for 7 days, I'm just not for sure.
Not for sure which
Not
7th.
for sure, I apologize for that.
The Monday before, the first Monday in July is the 3rd, and so it's a holiday. The Tuesday is a holiday,
I think
and
it's-
I'm out of town that week, but we also thought that probably lots of our staff might be out of town since the 4th is a holiday. So we moved it to the 10th, but you can let us
I
know.
think mine might be the week after. It might be starting like the Saturday after the 4th of July and returning the following Saturday.
And I'm on
trying to
vacation the week of the
short it out.
17th. So
Okay. Okay.
July is very busy for everyone, vacation
Yes.
staff and everything.
Yes.
With that being in the 10th, would you consider foregoing the mid-month? Unless
I think
something-
that we could probably, do you think we could probably put everything together that month and maybe a longer meeting? But I do not, embarrassingly enough.
Was that?
PM.
Okay, so the 10th, and forgo the mid-month meeting, so we will have one meeting in July. And then in August, the first Monday of the month is August the 7th,
What we say in July?
the 10th.
July the 10th.
Mhm. What about August the 7th for our regular meeting? Is that okay?
It's fine with me.
And then for a mid-month meeting, we would do perhaps the 24th, the 23rd, or 24th.
24th would be better for me if possible.
Okay? Anyone else? Then we'll put our mid-month meeting on August 24th. And on to September. The first Monday is the 4th, that is Labor Day. Would we like to do it on the 5th or the 11th?
5th.
5th? Okay. And then our mid-month meeting then would be probably most likely to be the 20th or the 21st, which is a Wednesday or Thursday. Is one of those better than the other?
21st is better for me if
Okay.
there's no
Yeah, it's on
issues.
Tuesday.
Fine.
Is the 21st better is the 21st okay with the rest of the council?
Sure.
Okay,
September
21st, and that's the mid-month.
the 5th and the 21st.
Okay. Now, October.
The fall break for school, I believe, Mayor Pillion, is October the 2nd.
Yes, it is. So would we like to maybe do the 9th?
I will be at Virginia Beach in a clerk's conference, but we
Okay.
can make arrangements.
Okay, well, we could either
The
do it on
That's the
Tuesday, the 3rd, which is the end of,
The 9th is a holiday too.
Okay.
Ninth is a holiday.
Yeah, let's do the 3rd.
do the 3rd, which is the tail end of fall break? Those of you with kids in school, will that be okay? Okay.
October the 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we need, oh, shoot, I lost my page.
19.
Let me, I don't know what just happened. This is what happens when you try to do everything electronically, I suppose. Sometimes it doesn't cooperate. Okay, so we'll do the 3rd, and then the 18th or 19th. Is there one of those that's better than the other?
19th is easier for me if possible.
Okay, is that
That's
okay?
fine. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, now November,
Let's do November 7th.
okay.
I'm kidding.
Is that election day?
Thank you for that, Cam. Thank you for that. Thank you for that quaint reminder.
Along that vein, will doing it on the 6th be extremely stressful?
It'd be okay.
I mean, would you rather move it to the 13th and be away from election day and then not have a mid-month meeting since we have Thanksgiving?
That's a good plan, because it
Yeah,
seems
it's a good
like
idea.
mid-month meetings in November and December are challenging
Yes.
because of the holidays.
Yeah, so we'll do it a week later and kind of straddle the gap there.
That would be okay with me.
Okay, and then that would separate us from election day?
The 13th?
Yes.
Is that when? Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, because then Thanksgiving's the next week and that gets complicated. Okay, and then, oh my gosh, December. The first Monday in December is December the 4th.
We're just one.
How does that work? that good?
December,
4th.
okay.
Yes.
And then we have, I mean, we could do a mid-month meeting, that would be the week of
21st.
Christmas, the 21st. Do we want to maybe do that as a tentative date on the 20th or 21st? And then
Okay.
see if we can get everything done on the 4th, we won't meet?
Sure.
Okay, which one, 20th or 21st? Does it matter?
Does not matter.
Does not matter.
4th and 20th.
You can do the 20th, just so it's one day sooner,
Yeah,
okay?
20th.
And we'll put that tentative. If we need it, we have it, if not, we don't. Wow, that was easy.
I will send out a calendar invite to everyone.
Thank
Dates.
you.
And
Thank
I'll let everyone know about that July date as
Yes.
soon as possible. I'll send it to you and see if I can get my wife to respond real quick, because I know school leader. I'll have some, yeah, don't know, though. 2 more
Okay.
days of school left.
I know. It's crazy time. It's crazy time. I don't know why May is so busy. Okay, so that is done. The next thing on our agenda is the Wayfinding signage kickoff announcement, and we have Ms. Mayana, Assistant Town Manager, Director of Community Development.
Good afternoon.
Good
How's everyone
afternoon.
doing? Yeah, so I just wanted to come to you. Last year in the budget, you approved money for a wayfinding plan. And that's a capital improvement project, and so it actually spans over 5 years. So the first year, we're doing the plan, and then there was money set aside for actual infrastructure for the upcoming years. And so we went through a procurement process, and we chose a company called Fraser Associates. They actually looked at signage a number of years ago as just a, like they did a sign inventory for us, so I actually found that from them later on. But we have invited them here. They're going to spend basically the week of May 22nd. They'll be here for 4 days. And on May 23rd, they are going to actually have a kickoff meeting with us, and we have created a subcommittee. The subcommittee, which we included Mr. Anderson on, includes town staff, town council representative, we have a representative from the development community, entertainment, restaurant community, and then a couple of people that have been at most every one of our council meetings of late. So we tried to kind of spread it around. If there's another council member who's interested in participating, but I know everybody's fairly busy, you could come and participate. We'll keep you informed. Basically, they're going to come through, they're going to look at all of our signage. One of the examples that I like to use is as you're coming in from Porterfield Highway, if you look over and you see the Welcome to Abingdon sign, you almost can't see it because there's a clutter of other signs all around it that have been put up. So they're going to be looking at clutter. They're going to be looking at wayfinding when you get into the downtown. So as you know, there's different signs that are attached to poles. And then what the outcome is proposed to be is just unifying that. So making it really easy for a tourist to come to our town, come into town, get into the downtown, look both directions, understand where they're going. I mean, most of us have GPS, but it really just creates a very different ambiance when you don't have signs everywhere. And from a safety standpoint, it also creates that less of the need for a driver to be like, wait, I'm looking over here at a sign, or am I going there, and what's the GPS telling me, what's happening in the back seat. So the goal is to really create that uniform look. A lot of small towns have it, a lot of large cities have it. So I don't know if you wanted to add anything else about it, but we kind of talked about it from the moment you got here, and Cochran's been very supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that when you go to the small towns or any of the towns, that's one of the things you absolutely see when you go somewhere. And one of the things that we had discussed during the parking presentation the other month was, or other meeting, had to do with if you see where the parking is. I mean, if you're coming through and you see a sign, you know, we have lots that are, or spaces that are unused because people don't know they can park there, because they just come through and or to go. And I think the easier it is we make for people to find where they're going, they'll actually go, you know, and you know, park rather than just drive away or something like that. So, but it really is it's going to be a unique look. And we looked at a couple different bids, and the folks that got the bid are let's say local, but
They're in Virginia.
yeah, they're this side of Virginia, which is the nice side of Virginia. So,
We've got
Yeah.
him brainwashed already.
yeah, it's gonna be nice, yeah.
It'll include parking, and then also on the pedestrian level, one of the things that Tanya and I have talked about for the last couple of years is, even just having the ability for pedestrian level signage, so that if you are coming to Cummings as an intersection, and sometimes it can be an impediment if you have walked the whole way and then you get there and you're like, what is on the other side? Should I go over? Where we could have, smaller wayfinding sign for pedestrians that says, there's ice cream and other things on the other side of this road. And the way that they described it to us is basically like an outer ring to the center. So how you drive in, how you find parking, and then what you do when you're on the ground. So I think it's gonna be exciting and it's gonna look great. So, there you go.
Thank you, Lyle.
Okay, and you're up next as well. The Main Street VDOT study pipeline project kickoff announcement. We have all kinds of cool things happening.
All right, we'll get the presentation started. All right. Okay, so we're gonna talk to you a little bit about what this project is. It's another really interesting one that we're working on. VDOT has a lot of acronyms, and Mike's going to talk a little bit about them when he gets to that section. But the current project that we're looking on is called Project Pipeline. And again, a couple days ago we were talking about Circuit Rider. I mean, every time they come up with a new name, I'm like, what are we talking about? So this one is really looking at main streets, and Circuit Rider was looking at Cummings, so we decided not to include that in this study. And we chose Main Street primarily because, since the 1700s, Main Street's the commercial, transportation, political center of the area. It still continues in that tradition, but it functions very differently now. No longer horse and buggy, now we have a lot of vehicles and pedestrians. So our goal today for you all is really just to hear if you have questions about it. And also, VDOT really wants to know if you have any deep reservations. So if you say, we're actually not interested in a study of Main Street, they want to know that up front so that they can, kind of put their efforts in other places. So why study it? So there's 4 topics that we're going to cover today: connectivity, redevelopment, safety, and then future VDOT projects. So the first one is connectivity. So as we know, we have the Creeper Trail. And while it's a fantastic tourism location and a thing that people come to, there really isn't necessarily that connectivity to the rest of downtown. So if you came off the Creeper Trail and said, I want to go get ice cream downtown, you'd probably put your bike back on your vehicle and try to go find ice cream, and then now you're finding a different parking space. So one of the things that we have asked them to look at is really looking at how bikes and pedestrians interact with Main Street and how people get to other places in town. Because it's one thing if you have an attraction, it's a different thing if you're actually having people use all of your streets and actually can keep people off of your Main Street parking. The next topic. The next one is redevelopment. So we have been talking a lot about the fact that we have a fantastic core downtown, fantastic shopping area, but what we really have are 2 underutilized ends of town. We have a very underutilized east end and a very underutilized west end. Lots of property for sale, lots of opportunity for redevelopment. And specifically, one of the things is that we have so much pavement. So you could really do some creative things. We have a turn lane that is the entire length of the street, but a turn lane to where? There's not a lot of places to turn. We have large complexes on either end, and so while it might push vehicles through, it's just not spurring that redevelopment. And so while we can't privately go out and invest dollars in the community, what we can do is improve our streets. So by improving our streets, you create, better look and feel, and then that gives people the confidence to buy a piece of property and redevelop it knowing that, we've invested in the future and that they can invest in the future with us. So that's the redevelopment piece. And then the next item is safety, and I'll let your Public Works Director talk about that.
So I guess I am the VDOT aficionado for the town because I've dealt with them for many, many years. And I understand, there's a lot of acronyms, like Myanna said, there's CTB and VTrans, and everybody goes, what is that? Well, VTrans is a multimodal surface transportation plan. And it's developed by the Commonwealth Transportation Board in partnership with the Virginia Office of Intermodal Planning and Investment. So what VTrans does is VTrans comes in and they study all these areas in the state, and they create what is called a midterm needs, which if you go in there and you look at a VTrans map, it'll show you road sections, problem areas, a lot of traffic data, stuff like that, and that's what we use to determine projects and work with VDOT, the MPO, Mount Rogers Planning District. So don't let the acronyms, throw you off, but yeah. So we partner a lot with the Bristol VDOT office. And just for perspective, that office covers 7,400 road miles in 12 counties all the way up to Withville. And in that, they want to do this project pipeline study of our Main Street corridor. And there is several high and very high areas, intersections that show up as wanting to be, developed, fixed, and improved. So, on the high end, between Cumming Street and Tanner Street, there's a lot. There's like 5 very high, sections that have an effect on projects. And then, for safety improvements, which is a big one for us because, in our applications and our projects, they score the most points in VDOT applications for safety and stuff like that because we don't have huge economic development like larger urban areas.
So we have like a number 7 there?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
one of
we're
our
like
intersections.
number 7 in the state for safety improvements, which is big for us. So this study, VDOT wants to come in and do it on our Main Street corridor, which, staff believes is needed. Really isn't going to cost us anything. VDOT's going to study it for us. They're going to give us the data, and they're going to include some outlying sections of the Main Street corridor out to Valley Street, down towards the Creek Trail and Green Springs Road. So they'll encompass all of that in that study. But that's kind of how we get into selecting projects for transportation, is we use VDOT and their VTrans model to pick projects.
We'll have one more slide on safety here, which I think I'll switch back into, but one of the topics, and probably one of the most challenging ones for us, and why we're bringing the idea to you all first, and then we would have to have a lot of community meetings, is that any kind of changes that we make on Main Street will alter the pattern. So one of the topics that they call it a road diet. So it's going into areas, and I'm just using this as an example of maybe instead of having 7 parking spaces that all back out into Main Street, instead maybe you have diagonal parking on Main Street in front of the business, and now you have a turn lane in the center with trees and all of that. So, one of the challenges to make sure that people that our businesses are at the table from the get-go, so we really understand, what the change will be. So here's just a couple of examples of renderings in other communities where you can see, you taking this 5 lanes across with a turn lane in the middle and just adding necked down turn lanes with the trees and some of the medians, and then adding the bike lanes on either side creates just an entirely different streetscape. Same exact picture, just a very different way the road functions. And the Circuit Rider program that we're looking at with Cummings is looking at the same type of thing. So again, we have a lot of wrecks in places where you just have that free, you can turn, and then maybe you say, never mind, I'm gonna keep going down, and instead of turning at the bank, I'm gonna now turn down into Kroger's.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens on our Main Street too, where you could ride that center turn lane and not turn, and then that causes. So it's safety, future projects, connectivity, redevelopment, it's all of that. And, we're asking today, also, if any of you thought that you were super interested and wanted to be on a subcommittee with us, we'd love to have that input, and you don't have to decide today. But 1, are you interested? And 2, if you don't want the study to be done and you think it would cause, you're not interested, let us know now so we can tell VDOT. We're excited about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you all would be. And the timeline and the schedule is, we launched this last week, and they said, get in front of your town council as soon as possible, so if somebody says, let's not go there right now, we'd know now. But we'd have the final analysis and the alternatives that they would propose as early as December. So it's a fairly close, quick timeline. There's stakeholder meetings, which if you all wanted to be involved, any of you could let us know. And then we would have a plan, and then as we applied for Smart Scale and all these other fun acronyms and names, we would say, look, they did a pipeline study, they suggested that, and now we're implementing it and doing it. So we can open it for questions.
I think it's great. I really like the second picture. I like the green. I like the trees. I have a new driver. Everybody watch out. He does a really good job, but I will say that we pulled out of the Kroger parking lot the other day, headed toward the interstate, and that turn lane is very confusing for a new driver in particular. He was like, what am I supposed to do here? And he handled it very well, but it is, people do. You really have to watch people, because it's hard to tell exactly what they're going to do, because they don't always let you know their signals. So anyway, I like the streamlining. I like the fact that it attracts business, and I really like the trees.
Okay. And I think too, if you use an example here directly on Main Street at Food Country, even our fire chief would attest to the fact that that parking lot, it's just open the whole way, and there's arrows going each direction. And again, where do you pull out, and who, as you're driving, who's pulling out into your lane or across your lane? So that would be the goal of a lot of this. So
Yeah, people don't know what to do.
they don't.
Just like they don't know what to do if you try to parallel park in town. No one knows what to do when you're parallel parking. It's like it's never happened before. But those are the two things for new drivers that I think are terrifying, because what do you do with that big long turn lane?
And we're distracted drivers these days too.
Oh,
There's
yes.
a lot more distractions than there used to be. So.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes, and we're open to anybody who wants to give driving lessons. I will gladly give you the keys to my car.
Stay off the sidewalk.
I've done this twice before, but it's terrifying every time.
Yeah, the one thing that I thought was interesting in talking with staff on this one is like VDOT, because you'll see the rubber strips from time to time, and they're always measuring things, even though we don't always know what they're measuring, they're always measuring things. And then they'll continually do analysis based on, hey, if I fix this, or we fix this, like timing on some crosswalks and all, if we change this, what does that impact? Because, sometimes when we look at it as non-traffic engineers, we'd say, well, just add an extra second to that, but you don't see the downstream to it. So they're continually looking at things like that, and when they look at things they're gonna fund, they also look at what the impact would be in the long-term stuff. So it really is good to see, and then US 11 is, even though it's our Main Street, it is US 11, so it's an integral road to their system. So it really is good, and Mike's got a great relationship with VDOT, so we really appreciate that.
I have heard a lot since I've been on council about beautifying, with plantings and making things prettier especially in our entrance and exit corridors and along Main Street, and I think this does that. And I also hear a lot about pedestrian safety and about driving safety, and those are things that people want to talk to you about a lot. And I think this study is going to go a long way toward addressing some of those. I don't know if you all feel the same way.
I feel the same way. And also with the bike lanes on there as well too. I think that we need bike lanes on Main Street, Valley Street as well too. So this study, that can only tell us if that's a plus or a minus. So I'm in favor of this as well.
And it's not just for tourism. Your bike lanes
Yeah.
can be for people who,
Just-
don't have a car.
Yeah,
to get
that's
to a job.
exactly it.
So
Yes, ma'am.
We've heard a lot about that on Green Springs Road and how people are getting to and from, some of the restaurants that are oncoming. So again, having that multimodal transportation as part of our system is important.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you for this
Thank
work.
you.
All right.
You do a good job, Marina. And Mike.
Okay, that brings us Do you have any other miscellaneous business to discuss, Mr. Cochran?
No, it's beautiful weather and get outside and enjoy it.
Hey, if we could go back to those dates, I just got some clarification.
Okay.
In July,
Uh-huh.
I will be out of town from the 8th till the 15th in July.
Okay.
Is it the 7th or what?
And it's 7th, so we're good. I think I'll be out of town the 8th through 15th, 7th, we should be all right.
No, we have it for the 10th.
Oh, the 10th, no, yes.
Mhm. And then I will be gone the week before that. Kim will be gone the week after that.
It's okay, miss a day.
I hate to miss.
I know. Well, should we talk about this offline and come back to it?
I'm fine.
I mean, we could, Kim will be gone the 17th and we need her. You'll be gone that whole week? Yes. Okay, so we couldn't move it to that week. And that puts us in the last week of July. Let's discuss this and we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Thank
We
you.
got a ways.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so that brings us to council member reports. Does any-
Just a couple of reminders for us. Our splash pad dedication is Sunday, May the 28th at 2 o'clock. And was talking before the meeting today about what a nice job the town and the staff have done in terms of preparing that. And the signage out front for the Rotary Club is just, I just think outstanding. I saw some people going up there today just to look at it and get a feel for it. So everyone try to come out Sunday at 2 o'clock, May 28th for that. The Veterans Memorial Day celebration, of course, is set on Veterans Day, May the 29th at 11 o'clock. Got a great speaker that's going to be there for that, so I encourage you to come out to that. And the last report I would make would be concerning Valley Street. Of course, I've been reading what Mr. Cochran's been writing concerning the restriping and the other things that will be going on Valley Street to hopefully slow the traffic there. My observation is it's already working, and I know that we're not close to achieving the final goal. There's still a lot more work to be done, but it seems like even what's already been done is achieving that goal of slowing people down. So I like it. That's all, Madam Mayor.
Well, I'll just say that Mike's gonna do a infrastructure update June 5th, so we look forward to that. We still haven't got our infrastructure committee back together, but we will. It's just gonna take a little time.
Basically, I'm just gonna touch on what Wayne said. We'd love to see everyone at our Memorial Day function on Memorial Day at Memorial Day Park. We've got a nice lineup, nice things going on, and it would just be really nice if everyone could come out and support the veterans and support the town of Abingdon on Veterans Day, Memorial Day.
I'm sorry, I forgot one thing, if I could.
Certainly.
So, just a couple quick updates. One of the absolute last projects to happen at the Meadows is the batting cages. And those things should be in and operational by sometime in July, so which would be great. The inclusive playground, if you notice you've been out there, the old playground has been removed and been redeployed. Some of it on A Street and one other stuff, that's been redeployed. And but the inclusive playground should be done in July. And then really exciting, this wasn't supposed to be done until November, but the pump and skills track should be done in August.
Oh, that's
which is
great.
awesome. So, yeah, just update on those three things because you'll see a lot of activity, and it's just because all that's happening. So.
Also, I want to give a shout out to the barter as well too. My kids go to elementary school here in Washington County. A couple weeks ago, they attended a show there. I thank the barter for everything they do for the school systems here in Washington County because my kids really enjoyed that. Also, I had a chance to attend Keep on the Sunny Side as well too. It was a packed house. The show went on. It was on a Saturday, so very productive, and me and my wife had a great time with that. So I just want to throw that out there as well too. I had a chance to visit the Abingdon Little League Baseball a couple weeks back. The Little League program is run by Sam Rutter out there. I think that they're doing a real good job out there with keeping everybody involved, keeping the kids active. It's a place for kids to go and enjoy themselves, and everyone can be one. So big ups to that and Little League Baseball as well too.
I echo everything everybody else has said. I did have a neighbor tell me that they think traffic is slower because of the new situation on Valley Street. So I think it's great. I think there's some confusion with the crosswalks, but that's in the works. We've had lots of people ask questions, but it's going to happen. If everybody's just patient, it will all come together and be so nice. But I also wanted to highlight that the Coon Center Pool is opening on Saturday, the 26th. Is that the 26th, that Saturday? And the hours are generally going to be 11 to 7, but they said to check the website for holidays and weekends and that sort of thing. But I was over there the other day. It is clean. It is beautiful. It looks so great. They've worked really, really hard to get it ready. And they've got concessions this year, which they haven't had in a while. And if you have ever taken kids to a swimming pool, you know that you have to have money for concessions, because if they have it, they want it. And there were still some limited spots for swim team when I was there the other day. And they have a summer swim league. And so you can register for that online. So I think that that's all moving in a positive direction. That's the most we've had going on at the Coon Center since before COVID. So that's excellent news.
I know the swimming lessons is built up there too at the
They're hot ticket
rec center.
items.
That's a hot ticket item, so must be doing something
Yeah,
right
and
there.
they told me this week that we actually train the lifeguards for the other communities around the region too, so. Nice.
Yeah, they're doing great things. And then we have Veterans Day, the Memorial Day ceremony coming up, and then Plum Alley Day. And lots of businesses and individuals participate in that, and so there's all kinds of great things going on.
So just one update from me, and I was having some discussions with town manager the other day, and we were chatting about the success of the sports complex and how impressive everything is and how well it's going. Just to give the general public an idea of how busy that facility is, there are rumors that Powell's actually ran out of food, like literally. They sold out of certain items on certain dates, and they've contacted the town for a schedule because they want to order more than they normally stock.
That's a good thing.
Just it really is impressive how well oiled the machine is and how well things are going, and to see the little leagues and these other leagues out there playing. I know my daughter plays soccer, and she's had just a blast this year. But it truly, we are very blessed to have such a fantastic facility. And the accolades keep coming, talking about the splash pad and the pump track and so on and so forth. Just a very exciting time to be involved, a very exciting time to have children in this community. But thank you, everybody who's been involved, and continued success of what we're doing.
We got a very nice email that Tanya disseminated to all of the people who were involved, and I don't know if you all saw that, but we had a visitor in town, and they sent a message, and they talked about where they stayed and the people they met, and they went to the brewery. They apparently talked to Cam. They went to several restaurants, and they met lots of people in town, and they wanted to go on and on about what a lovely place we have to visit and to live in. And I've had somebody doing some work from out of town, and I've directed them to various places in town. And as I left my house to come here today, they said, this place is amazing. It is so clean. It is so pretty. Everyone is nice. And we have eaten the best food we've eaten anywhere we visited. So I feel like those are compliments that our businesses and our restaurants need to know about. So everybody's doing a great job.
And lots of wonderful people, too.
There's also some summer reading programs going on at the public library this year as well too, and I think that will kick off in maybe the first week of June. So there's always something for the kids to do at the public library as well too. I know they have some reading programs over there, and they also got some other nice little things too. So if you don't have anything to do, reach out to the public library, because there's things to do that will keep you going until school starts back up in August. Don't forget about the public library.
Okay. So I think we don't have any boards or commissions. We don't have closed session. So I think that we are adjourned. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.